Welcome to another episode of Ankle Sore, and today we have something a little different. We interview an American who follows AFL, an American who has a YouTube channel dedicated to AFL. Yep, an American talking footy. Pretty amazing. So amazing that we just had to hear her story. So without further ado, please welcome Cyndie from YouTube channel AFL from LA. How you going, Cyndie?
Hi.
Hey.
I'm going great. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome.
Our absolute pleasure, for sure.
It's been a long time in the making.
It has. It's been months, I think, since you first reached out.
It's 3 months.
Yeah, we watched the videos and we were so impressed. We were like, we need to get you on. You're like someone from LA talking footy. That's impressive.
Yeah, well, I know how you guys are, and you have to kind of keep you at bay a little bit to keep your interest. If I had just said yes, you wouldn't have wanted me anymore.
Okay, fair enough. Point taken and well done. We've got a bunch of questions for you because we're so interested in your story.
Why AFL? That's the first thing. Why AFL? Why did you just? Yeah,
it's actually quite simple, to be honest with you, because my partner is Australian.
That's easy.
Not that complicated.
And what team does your partner follow?
Want to take a wild stab at it?
Let's just say West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we cheated, didn't we, sort of?
But having said that, just because he follows AFL, you don't have to actually follow it or like it.
No, true story. Yeah. So in general, I do appreciate good sports. I grew up watching college football. I played softball, where I grew up, we didn't have, everybody was more into American football, but I like championship baseball and championship basketball. You name it, if it's championship, I'm watching it. I'm down for it. So at first the AFL was definitely, it was interesting. I'd never seen anything like it.
Weird, right? It would have been weird for.
Yeah, it was slightly unusual, and like most Americans, you're like, but what is this? Is this rugby?
Everyone's a quarterback, right?
Everyone's a quarterback.
You have no idea, but anyway, it kind of kept growing and growing, and then like I woke up one day and then realized like the obsession had transferred from one person to another, in the night, and it got, and I'll tell you what was like the linchpin of the whole process. Josh Kennedy. Josh Kennedy.
The West Coast one, not the Sydney one, the West Coast one. Really?
Yeah, Sydney. Who cares about him?
I agree.
I'm just kidding. Actually, I passed him in the airport last time I was in Sydney. We were going through the baggage and we ran by him, so it was kind of fun. But no, Josh Kennedy of the West Coast Eagles is he's my love. So I started paying attention to him, and it got really weird.
Have you got really weird? You might walk.
I mean, just everything. Josh, let's talk about Josh some more. I actually came over several years ago, pre-COVID. I made homemade t-shirts of Josh. So I took some images of him off the internet, and I made t-shirts
goodness me,
for all my friends and family, and they were like, "Oh, great, thanks."
Yeah. I'll wear this out.
Like, sure, okay.
So with Josh Kennedy, talking about Josh Kennedy, I remember because young Andrew here follows Carlton. That's where he originally was.
That's right. That's right. Best trade ever.
And saying
it'll
that
work
though,
for us too.
Yeah, it works. But at the start, remember you used to say Josh Kennedy, you become a star.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you've got to give something to get something good.
Yeah.
So
but what I'm saying, you did become a
it
star.
worked out for both. Let's be honest.
Because that was going to be one of our questions: who's your favorite player? And you just answered it without asking the question.
Well, that's my favorite retired player.
Okay. Well, we'll get to the.
I mean, he's still my all-time favorite, but now we have to move on. We have to find new loves. Like on.
Well, so, you have to look pretty hard at West Coast these days, don't you? Really.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing. There are some really great players still at West Coast, despite the fact that we just retired 3 of them.
Yeah.
Tommy Barras, I think, had a kind of shitty season, but he's amazing.
He's
And if we could just figure out whether his name is actually Barras or Barris, that would be a huge start, because I think like
I know.
it's messing with his identity a little bit. He doesn't know who. Granger Barras is clearly Barras, but now we're not sure about Tommy Barras.
Yeah,
so
that's
at
true.
any
Very
rate,
true.
Is it Barras or Barras?
it's
true.
well, everyone that knows him calls him Tommy Barras, but the media calls him Barris. And then sometimes in mid-sentence, like they'll say, "Oh, and Barris just did this, and Barras did that," and you think there might be people on the table, like literally within the same sentence, they'll mess up his name. So I don't know. It's a peeve of mine. I have a lot of peeves with your media, but that's.
Well, tell us some more. Go on, go for it.
Got any more?
Because we like to call the AFL the Amateur Football League.
Yeah,
they do a lot. They do a lot wrong.
Oh my goodness.
Well, but here's the thing: we're here. We're trying to make friends, and I want to like come out like being like an aggressive American. However, the media is run by Victorian commentators, and it's when you watch teams that are not from Victoria, it becomes really obvious the bias. The bias is so like insane. And as an American, like I was dumbfounded when I started noticing it, because we don't have that here. We don't. It's even if a guy like who was announcing the game went to the school or played for the team, you wouldn't know it. It wouldn't happen. It just doesn't happen.
They're too professional.
They're too. It's true. Here you can see like certain players that have played for certain sides in their history. When they do play, we've seen it many a time where you go, serious? You can't show it. You can't make it that obvious.
They're too
you know what I mean?
You're right.
Too obvious.
We don't see it as much because we're.
What's his name?
Victorian.
Yeah, because you're there. Yeah, and you're Victorian and your teams. But like, I'll give you one because I know which teams you guys like. So, for example, what's his name? Joey. What's St. Kilda? What's his real name? Is Joe?
Montaigne.
Oh my God, does he love to talk about St. Kilda? Loves it. Like St. Kilda, it's like, oh my God, it's like the the Patriots football.
I'll be honest with you. Like in the right forum, it's okay. Like I don't mind listening to him, but when they're actually commentating the game and they're too biased, I hate that.
I gotcha.
He says the way they play and everything. The way they play is actually boring.
But, yes,
I get it. But no, I follow NBA pretty heavily, and I understand. Yeah, I understand.
Who's your team?
I'm a long-suffering Philadelphia 76ers supporter.
Oh, all right.
Even though I'm wearing a Chicago,
I wouldn't have a clue about any of it.
But
wait, let me look at your top. What's your top?
Chicago Bulls.
That's a Bulls top.
Yeah, it's like the Chicago flag or whatever. But
wow, I'm learning. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, well, there you go. But yeah, I've been a suffering Philadelphia fan and a suffering Carlton fan. So 15 years of misery.
Until now.
Well, everyone says that, but we've done well. We've done well. But actually, we watched one of your videos the other day, and it was sort of, and we thought, let's look at the mid-year stuff. Like, and you said Carlton was struggling, like we did.
Yeah.
And you said they're a bottom four side, and like. That's true. We said the same thing. They're about, and look where they've come from. Sort of
amazing.
It's absolutely amazing. But
they looked wrecked, and I remember there was there was conversation about like what's going on behind the scenes and the strife, and this one's not getting along with that one, and it was like, I mean, because. But they also, I think, had, in my recollection, had like the greatest expectations of all the teams going into the season. Correct. And I think it was like every week, it was like how Carlton this, Carlton that. And I think like their fall in the beginning was more, extreme because people were stopping talking about them every week. It was either Nick DeCosta or Carlton that
exactly.
He was quick. Voss had to go. You go back 2 months ago. I don't know if you ever watched any of the. Voss had to go. He was losing his.
Oh, I know. You guys wanted. I mean, you guys love a good lynching. It seems like.
It's true. I've been long suffering for 4 or 5 years now. My team can't win a game.
Poor thing.
North Melbourne, huh?
Oh,
poor babies.
Yeah, poor babies. Yeah.
Talking about Souvlaki.
I like Souvlaki. Yeah, I love him. Yeah, I do.
Have you ever had a Souvlaki?
No, but I had Greek food. I had Greek food today, and souvlaki was on the menu, and I was.
Well, there you go. So Nick was on the menu. All right. So, have you ever been to a game?
No, never.
Wow.
Oh, that'd be.
Yeah.
It's I must say, when you get two good sides and it's a big crowd, the atmosphere is.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to go to a game.
Yeah. When's it going to happen? When you.
It's funny. It's like, I don't know that I've come to Australia during a football season. Like it's just, and it's not on purpose or not. It just the way it works out. Because of the weather,
right?
No, I think there's always like, no, I don't mind that. I think it's just like, there's usually like a family occasion. There's like a reason to come over. And it's like the time is usually, for some reason, I'm over in November a lot.
November, yeah.
So like
Summertime makes sense.
Yeah.
We get it.
So, but no, I would love to come to a game. I don't care who it is actually either. I mean, wherever I can go see a game, that would be awesome. Be very exciting. Although I've been told I have to go see a game at the MCG, and I've been told Carlton at the MCG by my new friend. So
yes.
Collingwood at the G's loud.
Collingwood Carlton would be amazing.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
Yeah,
or Anzac Day, Collingwood Essendon would be pretty amazing. But anyway, it is awesome. Just don't go and watch St Kilda.
No, please.
No. Although if Eric Bana's there, I might have to stop by. Hi.
He's been there.
Perhaps. But he's up in the ferries, like in the box, you won't get near him.
I can't get to him. We'll see about that.
Very hard.
I'm sneaky.
Well, maybe.
I was going to ask. So you spoke about Josh Kennedy, just backtracking.
Yeah.
So right now, who would you say be your favourite player? Be one question. And the other question would be, who's the best player you've seen ability-wise? It doesn't have to be your favourite, someone that you go, he's a gun,
Oh, right now, who's my best player? I'm sorry, something messed up our screen. I had to get you back.
Okay.
Who is my favorite player right now?
Yeah.
Tobias Green, baby. I'm all in. I'm all orange right now. I'm with you, Vito. You and me.
I'm not a fan, but he goes on about him.
Are you serious?
Rightfully so.
Okay.
Rightfully so.
All right.
He is not captain for nothing.
Correct.
On, yeah.
I've been harping on it, Cyndie, for God knows how long.
Yeah.
And he's a superstar.
Okay, Yep, gotcha. All right.
I mean, Andy, did you?
He's win.
Did you hear what he said when they asked him of all the players on the squad who he'd want to play with?
No, I didn't.
Who do you think he said?
Charlie, surely.
Yeah, Charlie. So come on.
So you should bow down to the king, right?
Giving some love to your...
There's only one king, mate. Let's not even go there. There is only one king to ever play the game of Australian rules.
Oh, are we talking about Buddy or who are we talking about?
How dare you, Cyndie? How dare you?
I'm new. I'm American and I'm new.
Time then.
Who is it?
Wayne Carey.
Wayne Carey. I've heard the name, but I have no knowledge of Wayne Carey. So
that's fine.
Don't worry about it. We go back and see some footage.
Yeah. So I have to watch.
He was a star, an absolute superstar.
But I was really anxious to talk about Tom Hogan. Can we talk?
Was he a golfer? American golfer?
I have no idea, but he was obviously a cricketer. He was a arm spinner, whatever that means, because I don't know.
Yeah, he was a cricketer, right?
Yeah, cricketer spinner. Tom Hogan.
Because we grew up in the 80s, so we're always in the bet, like we just it comes up like out of the blue, and it's just like, do you remember? And I edit our shows, and when I hear these two clowns talking about, I'm like, okay, now I have to find a Tom Hogan clip or a picture of him. Digging through Google.
No, it's so funny. We were watching it. It was like, oh my God, that's
myself
so funny.
And Ange, just go on these tangents sometimes. You would see some of the pictures Andy puts up. We just go from footy to some stupid thing that's gone on.
And I try not to, but anyway.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, I have to edit it. So, as you know.
Okay, so Toby Green. So what about ability-wise? Who's the best you've seen? A bit like when you watch him, you go, this bloke's just got everything. Is there anyone that stands out for you? Or not really?
Other than Toby?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. Like, I mean, we'll stay on the Giants for a minute. Like Sam Taylor, unbelievable. Unbelievable, that guy. And then even on the Giants, like, I mean, this is kind of why I'm a little bit in love with the Giants right now, because it's like they sort of came out of nowhere and they have so many of these like really powerful players. And like one guy's not even playing right now, O'Halloran. He busted his thumb or something. Like,
yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah,
fast and like just able to pick up the ball, like just in like these unbelievable circumstances. Toby 2.0, Bedford, like he's fast and exciting. Like, I mean, there's Toby 3 now too. They've got 3 of them, but but no, I mean, obviously, you know, Kerno's exciting to watch. I mean, you guys on Carlton, I mean, you have a lot of great players, but I asked Terry this, and I guess I'm going to ask you this. Like, so your team kind of does like a 180 and is winning and kicking ass, and they're like having 9 straight, right? And then your like top players who are out, who is Walsh and
Chera
and all those guys are out, and Harry's out. And then they're like, well, we got to put him back in. And then it's like, yeah, okay, I heard you talk about, they didn't care about winning against the Giants, but you had a winning formula with these other guys who were like putting their heart and souls out there. And then you're like, sorry guys, you got to put these guys back in. And I'm like, I don't know. Do you mess with the rest was working, right?
I agree with you, but these other guys that you're talking about, the ones that have come in and replaced them, have had 3 years to show that, and they haven't shown it. So I don't think the trust's there, if you know what I mean. Like we can't trust you. You've played 3 or 4 good weeks, and that's great, and thank you. And if we have more injuries, you're the first ones in. But I think, they've been there for a few years, most of these players, and the trust just isn't there. They've had chances and chances and chances. So this was just out of necessity that they needed to play, and they finally showed something, I guess. So
they stood up.
You're right. As a coach, what do you do? Do you mess with your formula, or do you bring the stars back in?
It's tough.
I know.
It is.
And the other thing that you guys do that I find really bizarre is that you're only a premiership player if you play in the game, not if you're on the team when they win. And that's weird.
So wrong.
That's incorrect. Oh, I think that's wrong. I do.
Yeah.
An instance back in '93 of a player called Dale Kickett.
Yes.
Derek Kickett, who played for Essendon, and he played every single game plus 5 and got dropped for the grand final, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. It is what it is, but he's not recognised as a premiership player.
Incredible.
So you're absolutely correct.
Nick Nat is not a premiership player. How the hell did they think they got there?
Oh, here we go. You want to don't talk about Nick Nat, Cyndie?
I like him as a player, but geez, he's cost the West Coast.
It's cost him a lot of money.
So the state,
he's been injured most of the time, right?
Exactly, that's our point. Yeah. So for 6 years, I think he played 63 games. So that's bad. That's a lot of games.
No, I think it's good that he resigned. He retired. I think it was time, because it's like it's like, what good is it? It's like, I know, but the thing is, he brings a lot of money into the club because of his name.
True.
People love him. So I think no one was in a hurry to let him go. But it's not like, not at his age and his size and all that, it's not like it's going to get better for him.
No, it's going to get worse.
I mean, unless he's Tex Walker. Well, I mean, wow.
Incredible.
I mean, he's amazing.
Benjamin Button.
He's amazing. I thought he had a chance actually for the
Coleman.
No, he didn't. Don't be silly. Charlie would have kicked 10 if he needed to in that last round. Come on,
boys.
Come on. You know that. Come on.
I don't know about that, but
I do.
But yeah, I mean, that's another team. Like Adelaide has great players on it. You're asking about who I like.
Talking about going West Coast, you were saying before about, I'll tell you, I got a man crush and they know that. Tim Kelly. How good's Tim Kelly?
Tim Kelly is awesome. And the funny thing about Tim Kelly is that he kind of looks like what my dad looked like when he was a kid. Like,
oh, really?
So I always call him, I'm like, there's my dad. and
that's awesome.
My boyfriend thinks that's weird, but it reminds me like,
no, I don't think it's weird. I just,
I love him. Like, it's so sentimental for me. Like, but I didn't really know him prior to him joining the Eagles. Like, I didn't know him with
Geelong.
And his start with West Coast was a little dodgy. Like, he just wasn't playing like he's been playing this year. And then unfortunately this year you don't even notice how good he's playing because everyone else is playing.
So bad.
I mean, same thing with Oscar Allen. Like, he's a star. Although we joke about, like, he's so taped up and bandaged, he's so young. We're like, oh my God, this kid, like, is he gonna physically be able to like continue? Right. How long is he gonna be able to play? Because he already looks like he's been playing for like 40 years, you know.
But that's just what tape fixes everything. Like, you know, keeps everyone together, I guess.
Like the Windex from what's that? The Greek wedding, my Greek wedding.
Yes.
Tape, just put a little tape on it, it'll be fine. You know?
That's it. So, how long have you been following football, AFL? When did you first?
Probably. What year are we in? I don't know, maybe last 15 years. I mean, It started slowly. When the AFL app came out, that was like a game changer, because we can watch. Oh yeah. I mean, it works, but I mean,
it's bad.
Some of it's so dumb. Like you can't, like if you want to watch a lot of times we have to watch replays of games because they're on the middle of the night. So when you watch the replay, like you can't see the pregame. You can't see that. You can only see the pregame like when it's live, and they don't include it in the replay, and that's kind of stupid. And there's all kinds of other little dumb stuff. Like whoever cuts the do you ever watch the highlight reels that they make?
The minis, yeah, sometimes.
18 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, whoever's cutting these things is not a genius. It's so funny. It's like same shot over and over again. We have to watch the whole, like his whole run up, like the 30 seconds wasted. Like it is so boring. But at any rate, the AFL app definitely, because I think they used to show games on like ESPN or something, and they would be at weird times as well. Like the first game I actually ever saw was at a friend of mine's house, and it was a Melbourne game. He's actually from Melbourne and a Demons fan. And he showed me the game. And so I was like, okay, this is going to be my team. And, I learned how to say Cyndie. And I was like, and I actually had a picture of the team on my refrigerator for like years. And for the life of me now, I can't find it. I would kill to find that photo.
Yeah.
But I was not very popular when I went to Perth for the first time yelling Cyndie. They were
you wouldn't be.
If you follow the D's and you go to the MCG, you got to have that nose. They're the toffees, aren't they? They're the toffees. You want to be nice and sat. You don't want to cheer too loud. You don't want to say anything.
Okay, that's a new word for me. Toffee. Is that posh? Does that mean?
Yes.
Okay.
So
okay.
The joke was that no one would ever go. They'd be at the snow. During football season.
Okay.
Yeah. So the MCC members would never go, and they only show up at finals time if they ever made it. And anyway,
right. I know. It's crazy though, like some of these games, like even the Giants, like their fan base is really, really quite small. I think it's growing, but like some of these teams, like I think the Bulldogs, like does anyone watch the Bulldog? I mean, I'm surprised you like North Melbourne. Tell me a little bit about how this. I mean, you've always been a North Melbourne fan. Did you grow up?
I grew up. My family, mum used to take me to Essendon games as a child. Like Essendon, hardcore Essendon.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I just got this. In those days, you'd go to the football and you look at the scoreboard and they have all the progressive scores of all the other games. So you can check what's happening.
So there was no internet.
Yeah, there was no. That's right. So we're going back, 70s, 80s. So I always have to have this thing with North Melbourne. I used to watch them. They won the flag in 77 when I was like 6 or 7. So I got this thing, blue and white balloons, and it just stuck. And I wasn't really interested in Essendon for whatever reason. Then I followed North. They won the flag, and that was it. So my whole life, really.
Yeah, isn't it? It's interesting. I mean, honestly, I think just colors psychologically have a huge effect on people. It's like, and sometimes it's like for example, I'm from Miami, and I cheered for the Hurricanes, and they're orange.
Yep.
So it's natural for me to like the Giants because it's like
of course.
Yeah, my eyes will automatically like go to that as like, oh, that's good. That's something like you should like. It's so it's ingrained in your psyche.
Absolutely, it makes sense because they're the orange team.
Yeah, exactly. But I like North Melbourne, and I really thought like almost every game I'm like they got a chance. Like I'm always optimistic about it because there's players on the team, and like you had Sheasel. I mean, he's a great kid. And they're just like, and Nick, obviously, I mean, he was, finalist in the Coleman, right? Was he end up being third, right?
Third. Yeah. He done well on a side that really couldn't win a game. 20 straight losses. Like, You can ask him. I watch it here sometimes, and I'll lose my mind.
Oh, it's hard watching with him.
Like I can relate, but yeah, I think I mean, I'm always pulling. I'm sort of always I like underdogs, so I'm always sort of pulling, like Hawthorne. Like towards the end, like I never would count them out. People be like, oh, it's Hawthorne. I'm like, don't be so quick. Don't, because they have the ability to win, and you saw them beat some
good teams, right?
Yeah, they're exciting. What's that kid's name? The name of the year is Jai. Everyone's named Jai.
John Newcomb, yeah.
But everybody, like we have two Jais, I think, on the Eagles, and there's Jai Newcomb and there's Jai Amos. Like, what happened to these people? Where did this name come from?
What happened to John?
John. It's like Jordan in the 90s. Like everyone was naming their kid Jordan after Michael Jordan, right? So I guess Jai. I don't know any famous Jais, but anyway.
I just wanted to ask you something, Cyndie. I don't know if you've seen the interview we did with the Mark Bomber Thompson. Do you know? Are you aware of who he is?
Okay, I did watch. I didn't watch all of it. I watched some of it, but I now know who he is. I've learned a little bit about him, and I understand that that's the name of your show, because I was like,
so you saw the press conference.
Yeah, where he's like sore ankle, sore.
So you're our next guest after him. So we're happy to have you on. That's the same. You keep the same. You know,
we were intrigued. We'll be honest. When we saw your bits and pieces on, YouTube, we were intrigued, and you were just reeling off, Larky and whatever. She knows all the players. Like, actually know what's going on better than some of the people.
I mean, AFL is not a worldwide sport, so to see someone from LA, start a YouTube channel about AFL, it's like
we lost our minds.
Mind blown,
Well, I mean, so it became apparent that like I had a niche, because when we'd speak to friends and family back in Australia, they found it funny, because most humans, most normal people, they like a team, right? They like a team, and they know, because even like all my women friends back in Perth, they all know everything about the Eagles or Fremantle. Like they know everything. Even one of my girlfriends who lives in Perth is a Collingwood fan. She knows everything about Collingwood. But that's kind of normal. And I feel like Aussie women know their sports, hands down. Even more, like American women go to football games, but they don't really know that sport that like in depth, right?
Okay.
So, but then we'd be talking, and I would like bring up Toby or whoever, like I would just bring up something else, and they thought it was hilarious. Like, they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. And so like, we knew that it would be funny. And originally that was the idea. Like, we were going to, kind of do what you guys are doing, like sitting around and talking to people back home and, over there and just chatting about the footy, and we thought it'd be funny, and it just kind of developed into what it has with news reporter style of
well,
covering.
The fact is like as well, like you're reeling off stats, and like we were saying,
it was really impressive.
And players, and go, this is incredible. Like, sure, you can love the game, and sure, you can have a podcast and go blah blah blah, but the fact that you know your stuff, just goes away, to be honest. And take that as a compliment.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm learning, and I have help. So it's not. I'm getting better and better, but I mean, it is funny. I mean, you will truly catch me in the middle of the night by myself watching games. Like, just like
we've all done that. We don't have to watch them in the middle of the night though, but during the day, we're lucky to have Fox Footy here, which is 24-hour football channel, right? So you can just look on and see whatever you want. They show the the game, like every game 8 times a week, so you can't. Can you not get KO? Do you know of KO?
I only know about KO because some other people have mentioned KO, and saying, like, somebody in the comments, I think, how is she getting all this football? My KO app sucks overseas. So that's
funny, because I was overseas and I was trying to watch through KO the games, and I couldn't. I had to get I had to illegally stream it. No, not even. I tried with the VPN, it wouldn't allow me. So that's another amateur football league decision, obviously.
Goodness me, this amateur football league's getting.
But anyway.
So I have a funny story to tell you. Although I know Ange, like Angelo.
Ange, like,
okay.
Ange.
Yeah. So it sounded funny to me too. So he's still the Bombers guy, right? You guys have like checked out on the Bombers, even though your show is like dedicated to a Bomber. Is that correct?
Well,
or not dedicated, but named after one.
Yeah. So when we were coming up for a name,
we
were looking for a name for our show. Vito said, let's call Ankle Sore, because we've been going on about this. This is about 12 years ago this happened, this interview with Ankle Sore. And we're like, let's just call it that, something silly. Like it doesn't matter. There's a lot of silly channels out or silly names on YouTube, you know, so it doesn't really matter. It's the content that matters, right? So, we decided to call it that. And, you know, literally our first episode, I said, I said, Bomber, if you ever see this, we'd love to get you on our 50th show, you know, and it wasn't far off, you know.
I went back and watched the first one after I heard you say that. I wanted to see it.
So you saw that.
But, our first one, we were embarrassing.
Terrible.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, it's all right. You know, we all started from somewhere. But so last night, I was having drinks with another Australian friend, and his name is Nick. And Nick had a little story to say that his grandma had a lolly shop, outside of Windy Hill football ground. And his grandpa had a shop across the street from her lolly shop, and that's how they met.
Wow.
If it wasn't for that.
Amazing.
That's incredible.
Napier Street. Yeah, we know exactly where that is. That's not far from us.
10-minute drive from where we are right now.
Yeah. So Nick, he's still a Bomber fan. He lives here, but he's still a Bomber fan. That's awesome. I asked him, I said, who's your favorite player? And he said, Alec Kookaburra Epps.
Oh, Alec Epps. That's going back a long, long time ago.
Yeah, we never saw
He's old.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah, because Alec Epps played like 60s, 70s, if I'm not wrong.
It's before our time.
1950s and 1960s.
Oh, there you go. 50s and 60s. There you go.
But we do know about him.
He was on 2 premiership teams.
Yep.
And then he wanted to tell us that his one of his mates is Gary Folds.
Gary Folds.
Yes.
We spoke about him with Bomber.
With Bomber, he
unbelievable.
That's a friend of his that he grew up with. And I know that he was on the grand final teams in 84 and 85 against Hawthorn.
Correct.
Oh, Cyndie, very, very impressive. Let me tell you.
Very impressive. You're hiding something. You know more about football than what you lead on.
Wait, and here's the last weird thing. I got a haircut today and I had a new stylist. And so we were chatting and he was like, oh, so what are you doing this weekend? I said, well, you know, I'm doing this show and normally I'm covering football, but it's a bye. And he goes, AFL? And I go, yeah. And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, I was just in Australia. I was doing this job in Broome. He's like, I'm friends with Sean Edwards. And I goes, what team is he on? And he goes, I don't know, they're red and black. I go, Essendon? And he's like, yeah. I was like, oh, this guy played in, I think, 2014. He played for the Swans and then he played for Essendon. Sean.
I remember him. He must have been a terrible footballer. I don't know. Like,
Sean Edwards.
Yeah. Look him up. Look him up. Yeah. Sean. Shaun. Sean.
Yeah, Sean. I was thinking of Shane Edwards.
Shane Edwards would play for Richmond. Okay.
Not to be confused with Tom Hogan. We don't want to. We don't want to next says.
We're not going to leave that one down, am I?
He's done a few odd names, but anyway. Now I've got to ask you about your YouTube channel.
Okay, shoot.
So you started this year in 2023,
correct?
As we did. Now,
yes,
the location's amazing.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Look, I guess you're in LA, so it's probably not a big shock to everyone in the street seeing someone filming. But how do you pick the locations? What makes you go to, in front of CBS?
CBS, I freaked out when I saw that. I go, CBS is right there.
Or Whiskey Go, or where all these locations and.
It's not too complicated. It's about proximity. It's about how much time we have, because by the time we can get out, like, we're shooting a day behind you guys. So we have to hustle and it always happens on Sunday afternoon. So we need like certain things to be working in our favor. So we always have like a list of places that we can try to go. Like we had a really hard time getting up to the observatory because on Sundays it's all blocked off because of all the tourists, and you can't just drive up there. So then you're walking uphill like 2 miles to like shoot, right? And then we actually got kicked out because sometimes they want you to have a permit to actually be shooting places. So luckily, like we had like just a couple things left to say, and she let us finish. So, there have been times like that. So sometimes it's just spur of the moment, and then it's just things we think, you guys would want to see, being back in Oz, like that you would enjoy and get a kick out of seeing. And then sometimes people like, one guy who follows us is Outback Bob, and he's a real character. And he was like, "Go to the Troubadour," and so I'm like, you know what? Going to the Troubadour. All right,
Troubadour.
That's for you.
Some bands and played there.
Because
I saw a Crowded House.
Oh, there you go. There you go. What drew our attentions when we saw the Sharon in LA? It's like, where would the Sharon go next? What's this?
Yeah.
And she's like, around. She's a hustler.
I know. It's a
girl.
So what was the thought process about that? Like bringing the Sharon to iconic venues? That was awesome. That's
I mean. We again, like, why not? I mean, why not?
No one else has done it.
That's right.
Okay, well,
you're unique. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's right. Well, I've got American ideas with Australian values.
I know.
No, it was just another thing. Like, let's get a Sharon and let's take her around with us, and we'll just take pictures of everywhere we go with her, and
such a good idea.
and have some fun.
Great idea.
Fun with her, yeah. So it's fun. I love after when we're done shooting, we're just like walking around like, oh, what about here? What about here? This looks good. It's fantastic. So that's been fun, and people seem to like it. So maybe Sharon will like it at some point.
Yeah, we love all the different areas.
Sharon.
Sharon or Sharon?
Yeah.
Well, so that's a big controversy here. So how do you say it?
Sharon.
And I'm like more like an A, Sharon. I say it more like
so football's a female.
Sharon, yeah. Okay.
For me, she's a doll. She's getting kicked around by those guys all weekend.
Actually, maybe I was thinking that, but I didn't want to go down that path. But anyway.
I was going to ask you, Cyndie, so whilst finals start in a few days, what are you thinking finals? So what are you thinking? Who do you think's going to make it?
Bloody hell. I don't. I mean, I've had some pretty strong predictions that it was going to be Collingwood and Port in the finals. Okay. And but I don't know, man. Like there's just wild cards. This stuff with GWS and the stuff with even Cyndie. Where the hell did Cyndie come from? They were written off 6 weeks ago. We're never gonna see them again, right? And how sad. And then now they're in it. So I know statistically that it's rare that any of the bottom 4 of the top 8.
Correct.
Actually, the Bulldogs did it in
2016. Right? Yeah, that was the last one. Yeah,
and that was a rare occasion. So I'm not I'm not putting too much into whether even Carlton. I mean they've got a lot of they got a lot of oomph behind them.
Momentum. Yeah,
momentum. That's he thinks they can win. He's excited.
Yeah, well, look, they can. Honestly, any of them can win. It's not look, even your beloved North Melbourne can win on any given day.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like there are a bunch of clowns out there. It's they're all elite athletes.
That's debatable.
Well.
If you've watched as much footage as we have, oh my goodness. But anyway,
there is an assumption that you have of all the how many millions of people are in Australia, that
26 or something. We're babies.
Okay, 26 million. There's about 40 on every team, more or less, to pick from, right? Yep. Okay, so we're talking about 600 people, right?
Yep.
They've got to be pretty good. They're playing professional sports. And it's so sometimes it's just, look, all right, that's a backtrack, but the Bulldogs, what the hell? If you look at their list, they're incredible, right?
We didn't see that coming,
Midfield is as good as anyone's.
But they don't play. I feel like they don't play well together. It's they're a bunch of individuals all doing
very
really well.
So.
Where if you're watching Carlton right now and you're watching GWS right now, they're they look like a team,
United,
I think with Bulldogs, I think just the coach. I think the coach has run his race, and I think they've run out of that togetherness.
Ideas, But anyway,
that's
so you're all about. You want to get rid of
Beveridge.
Beveridge, yeah.
No, not Not so much. Look, I'm
I
not,
would.
yeah, he would, but I'm not a Bulldogs fan anyway. But
well, we know you wanted to get rid of Vossi too, so we know about you.
Oh,
You're like, get rid of him.
The chopping block in this bloke.
Long-suffering Carlton supporter. You'll find that out with West Coast for the next few years.
Did you? I don't know if you've seen this, but I did a video of like me, like the Simo whisper in the middle of the night, and this was like game 3. It's like the 3rd week, not knowing what was coming, and it's so funny if you think back. It's like me, like Simo, please, Simo. Like Simo.
Oh, dear.
So do you know where Simo used to play?
At Hawthorn, right? No, North Melbourne, of course.
Correct.
North Melbourne.
So you know your stuff. You know more than what you're putting forward, You do know your stuff.
I have a lot of like just what other people would call useless information filling my brain between the ears.
There's nothing wrong with that.
How else am I going to use it than to have a show?
That's right. That's why you have YouTube. That's right. That's why we have YouTube.
My friends here are not interested in me anymore. I have nothing to talk about it.
Well, as I say, they're not real friends then, right?
Yeah, screw them. I've made new friends. I've moved on.
That's it. Absolutely. So who wins the premiership in your mind?
We want to know.
Honestly, I mean, if I had to bet, it'll probably end up being Collingwood because they have the advantage. They have the home field advantage. They're staying home.
Yep.
They're a great team, but I don't know. I'd love a good story to talk about. So
GWS, you want to win, don't you?
Yes, I would love it. I would like anybody who's not expected to win to actually win it. It would be very exciting. So,
I've been going on the Collingwood bandwagon. I don't know if you've heard any. I've been going off Collingwood for months with these guys. And they're laughing at me.
They're not into it.
The flag. I've called it.
Yeah,
it's a long way off.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see. I don't know, but we'll see. Who's gonna? The first round is them in Melbourne, right? And then Brisbane, May. I don't know. Brisbane, Port. That's going to be very interesting. I know that they have the home field advantage, but Port, man, they're good. Those guys, Butters and
Rosie.
And Horn Francis,
he's
and even what's your he would fit in with you guys, Pal Pepper.
Pal Pepper.
Sammy.
SPP, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be interesting. Interesting for the only game that we said we didn't care about was St Kilda and GWS.
I hope GWS.
It's a waste of time. Like St Kilda shouldn't even show up. But anyway,
Toby will kick a bag, man. I'm telling you now. They can't stop you.
From your mouth to God's ears. We'll see. I'm excited. I'm excited. I know, but I talk so too much. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't handle this. Oh, okay. Tell me when it's over. It's like watching like this,
So, do you have any videos that you want to do in the off season? What are you going to do in the off season? Because it's 6 months to the next game after the grand final.
Yeah, it is. So I'm looking forward to not being on a tight schedule. But we have a under the channel. We have a section called After the Siren, which we've done some fun stuff with some of my friends here. We've done some Aussie wine pairings with Aussie candies and
I did watch the Aussie candy one. That was interesting.
Yeah, and we have a good time together. So we might have a couple of things up our sleeves, and may talk to a few people that we've met along the way.
That's awesome.
It's going to be a work in progress, and I'm going to continue to be talking with Terry, for the near future. So
as long as Carlton keep going, all right, progressing in the finals.
You get along well with this bloke.
Yeah. Do you know Terry?
No, we know of him. It's funny because we did an episode at one of our friends' pizza shop, and Kuda, who's a Carlton legend, his auntie works there. And she said, "Oh, do you know Blues Abroad?" And I said, "Yeah, we know of him, but we have never met him, never spoken to him." It's just, again, the tight schedule thing. Like us doing our shows literally after the last bounce of the round. We do it Sunday nights and get them out. So we do 2 shows and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and then everyone sort of works during the week. So it's kind of one of those things that we haven't had a chance. And then you found with the time difference, it's been hard to sort of, schedule a time and that, and this week being the bye week kind of worked for all of us, except Andrew got a phone call at the last minute.
Damn you.
Yeah. But look, we'd love to do this again with all 3 of us.
With the 4 of us. So then you can ask him the questions you wanted to ask.
I mean, I have so many questions about this data thing. I mean, it's apparently like the most, like, what's the word? Like, the most statistics of
any sport in the world. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I want to know how they do it. I mean, will AI replace him? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I've got questions.
Well, we've seen some of it. He's shown some of the stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty
it's intense. It's actually intense.
But it's funny.
Yeah.
Like we always say, growing up with the sport, I guess it's like it can be that intense, but yet it's that simple.
Yeah.
Because all you need to do is kick goals, right, to win games. So sometimes it can be a bit more complicated than like any sport. You can overcomplicate it.
Of course.
Yeah, and that's why it's frustrating watching certain teams like St
Kilda.
Kilda. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see even over the last few weeks, you'll see teams who statistically on paper were terrible and they won, and it's like
doesn't always relate.
Can you kick straight? I mean, at the end of the day, if you kick straight, I mean, that's going to win your game every time. So consistency, efficiency, all that good stuff. But like, yeah, I mean, I don't really. In fact, I don't even care. Like the hit out thing, I find funny.
It's overrated.
Like I feel like it always goes to the other team, almost always. It's like, they got the hit out. I'm like, yeah, but it went to the other side. Like, what difference does it make? So
it's irrelevant.
But it's still, as a job, I'm interested. So next time we'll have some questions.
So we've got 2 more questions for you, one each. Go. You're going to ask.
Oh no, I had more about the finals.
Okay. So I've got a question for you.
Okay.
What would you change or like to see changed in AFL? Like, what do you find bizarre?
What happened to holding the ball? I mean, that's an interesting thing. Is it a thing anymore, or are we just getting rid of it? Like, let us know.
Just changes every week.
We lose our minds. We lose our minds.
Yeah.
4 umpires. One umpire will play one. Then 2 minutes later, it'll be the same thing. And
So what I've noticed about American sports is that a decision's either black or white. It's right or wrong, right? Here it's all about interpretation.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating because that can't work, right? It either is or it isn't.
Well, look, you guys, the technology is available, so a lot of this stuff like shouldn't be an issue. Like the issue with the goal with Adelaide, right? No. Shouldn't have been a problem. That was ridiculous. And then you saw what happened the week after, where it was like they were replaying every single thing. So
silly.
You have to. It's out there and it exists. So you're gonna either use it or not. I mean, I said to Terry the other day, why don't you get rid of the touch ball? Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Solve all your problems. The ball goes through the goalpost. It's a goal. No matter if it's touched.
Yeah, we said that. Or if it hits the post, it doesn't matter because it eliminates a lot of errors.
Through, right?
Yeah. Oh, what about last touch?
Last touch going out of bounds. Like the deliberate interpretation.
Don't you think they're grooming you right now for the fact that it's just that's what it's going to be?
Yes,
probably.
It's like, it's
do it quick.
Yeah, exactly. So I would like to see in 2024, maybe the umpires have a better season because I feel like they've been just.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I can't see it happening based on
history.
But then what will we complain about? If we don't have that,
we'll find something. There's always something. There's always something
else.
The balls now. Well, what are they complaining about? The balls are too. What are the players complaining?
Oh, they're too pointy.
Yeah, the ball. I don't know if you notice the players. Sometimes when they get it, they're holding it.
They're starting to push the balls in.
Pushing the balls in because they're saying they're too pointy.
And apparently, though, like the yellow one has like an extra like shellac or something on it that makes
it's a bit slippery.
Yeah, that's what they're saying when they're holding it.
Yeah.
Which brings us before we're going to do some goal kicking one day. We're going to do an episode and say, how do these blokes miss from 20 yards out straight in
Show them how it's done.
We're going to do it. No, we are.
Awesome.
You'll have a bit of a giggle. I can say that.
I can't wait.
All right.
All right, boys. Well, I'm so glad we finally got a chance to hang out, and let's do it again.
Absolutely. We'll do it again for sure.
That was awesome.
Awesome.
So there you have it. That was Cyndie from YouTube channel AFL from LA. Be sure to subscribe to her channel. You won't be disappointed. Link will be in the description. See you on the next one.